Hey folks, welcome back to Celtic Fans TV as full-time reaction here from Hampden Park after Celtic 2, Kilmarnock 0. Celtic are in the League Cup final once again. I've got Kenny with me to go over the game. Kenny, pretty similar to last week's game over the piece, I thought, but we got over the line and that's the main thing.
Yeah, I think it's got to go down as a well ground out result in really difficult conditions, but it was pretty uncomfortable at times. I mean, I was a bit surprised to see Juranovic start the game. I thought Johnson maybe can feel a bit hard done by based on his output in the last couple of games. But Juranovic looked back to his best. I think that made me believe that he probably was ill at Ibrox, because I think he looked like his low centre of gravity and his pace, all that stuff was coming back, and he was linking up well with Jota on that right-hand side. I thought everything we did well was through Moy in the first half. Yeah. Moy's really... It's a tough ask to displace Matt O'Reilly in that Celtic side. And yes. I love O'Reilly. I wouldn't bring him back in the way Moy is really the brains of the side at the moment, and I think it helps McGregor as well. But they targeted Bernabei, it was obvious. They did it from the first kick of the ball. In the first 2 minutes, Bernabei's caught in behind twice, and they nearly score. Yeah. I think Bernabei's had enough time now in a Celtic jersey for me to conclude that we've got a problem there. I do. His offensive output is inconsistent. His defensive contribution is completely erratic. And he's such an obvious weak link that he's unset on things. Kobayashi, I believe, can play left back, albeit it's not his primary position. Maybe that's a step too far to throw him in Wednesday night because it's a league game, but I'd play him in there against Morton, see what he's like, because Bernabei's a problem. I know he's a young guy and he's trying his best, but it's a tough school, right? We're going for a treble. And I felt that was a bit of a problem defensively. But we never really tested their keeper. Kyogo, I thought, was in the periphery too much. He didn't get his usual movement. I don't know if the conditions, you know, he just wasn't quite as up for it. But look, it's another ground out win. It's another clean sheet, and we've got Joe Hart to thank as well for that. Absolutely,
you touched on it there. Bernabei was caught out a couple of times early in the game. I mean, 30 seconds in, Kilmarnock have put a ball across the face of the goal. Then Hart has to turn one behind for the edge of the box. And we had Joe Hart to thank on 2 or 3 occasions. He makes a really good save at point blank range in the second half as well. So we did have to defend at times, and you know what Kilmarnock are going to do. We've seen it last week. They're quite a big physical side. On set pieces, they look dangerous at times. But we came through it, and I think it was important to score the first goal when we got it, because you didn't want it to go like last week or into the second half stuck at 0-0. And Maeda got the breakthrough. I thought he was good again today, and he was denied an excellent goal for offside for his second. Yeah, Maeda's commitment is... I don't know how many times in Japan he needs to play in conditions like that. You're freezing cold, but his stamina is incredible. I mean, he really plays for the badge. He's a unique player, Maeda, and I think our view on him's been a bit up and down, but he's proven himself now to be a real asset for the side. Joe Hart was called into action. I mean, Joe Hart... He's out there in a t-shirt. He spent most of the time just trying to keep himself warm. But that's the classic sign of a quality goalkeeper. He's out there trying to keep himself warm, trying to keep himself focused. And in 2 crucial moments, he came up trumps for us. So I actually thought Carter Vickers had one of his weaker rounds. I think the wind was sort of... He almost wins every header you see him make, but he was getting caught under the ball a bit. So I think the conditions were giving us a bit of a problem. We just don't look a threat. In those conditions, sometimes you're trying to play a bit cheaper, higher balls into the box, and Kyogo just offers you nothing through no fault of his own because of his height. So it was difficult for us to test their goalkeeper when it was, in that sort of environment. But we're in a final again, and it's another step towards the treble. Aside for that goal in the first half, we didn't really carve Kilmarnock open and create too many clear-cut chances. As I say, we had the goal ruled out in the second half, and then as the game gets into the last 10 minutes, you know they're going to throw everything at it. But we weathered the storm. Giakoumakis is off the bench, gets a goal. Do we think that's a farewell goal for him?
I hope not. If it is, I'll be sad to see him go, because I've watched strikers in the past for Celtic in contractual disputes, and their behaviours change. Moussa Dembele went out in a real play. People forget Moussa Dembele shafted Celtic because of a contractual dispute. Pierre Van Hooijdonk going back a bit, but he left with a real sour taste in his mouth. He's just get booked for over celebrating, right? So that tells you that his behaviours, in terms of his attitude towards the club, are still positive, and he's such a threat. I mean, it was a real... Kyogo again was on the periphery. I was crying for Giakoumakis to come on earlier than he did. When he came on against Kilmarnock in the last game, he caused absolute havoc. We need that second out. We need that change in style. And until we've signed a replacement, I simply wouldn't let him go. I don't know if they've got that option. I don't know. It looked like I was sort of maybe getting a bit paranoid watching him going off the park there. It looked like it was maybe a bit of a farewell message. But that's a big gamble we're taking if we don't sign a replacement. And even if we do sign a replacement, it's hard to know if they'll hit the ground running. It's a difficult position for Celtic. I'd far rather this was sorted out in the summer. I'd just be saying, get your head down, George, just for 4 months. Get yourself another 3 medals. Go, we'll wave you goodbye in the summer. I don't like it. I feel uncomfortable about it.
And we do run the risk now, Kyogo being the only out-and-out striker that we've got, if Giakoumakis has to leave in the next week or so. And that leaves us exposed, because if anything's to happen to Kyogo, we might end up in a sticky situation. We've been linked with Cho for a number of weeks now. That looks like it's not going to happen. So you just hope the club don't end up backed into a corner where they have to panic buy in that position.
Absolutely, and it's an absolutely crucial point of the season. Maeda can go in there, right? Maeda's coming into nice form now. Brilliant striker's goal at Ibrox. So maybe you might find that because his confidence is high that he's a better outlet for us as a number 9 than he has been in the past. But I'm not. Look, Kyogo's numbers are good. Yeah. I'm not entirely convinced by his contribution in some of the games. He's very peripheral in a game like that. You know, his movement traditionally is great, but I would question his movement in that game. So, and I don't want to, it's a tired argument about Kyogo and Giakoumakis, let's not go over that, but I don't think, even Kyogo, a fit Kyogo still needs a challenge. He can't play, we've still got 20 games left this season. Yeah. I wouldn't want to rely on him playing all 20.
Yeah, I think what we see with Kyogo, he is in the periphery. I think in most games, not just in games like that, against stuffy defences and difficult conditions. But he needs the team to be playing well and creating chances. We need to be getting to the byline, cutting back low crosses for him. The team needs to be functioning really well, and we've not really been in top gear the last couple of weeks, and that is where it stands out, and that's where people really notice it. Yeah. Across the pitch today, any standouts for man of the match?
I would give it to Moy. I just think his brain, his touch, his short passing, his calmness under pressure, he can play deep, he can play forward. He was brilliant in the World Cup, Moy. He was Australia's best player. And I think he's really kicked on from there. So I would give it to him. I thought McGregor was good, you know, tidy under pressure. But there wasn't great. I don't think we kept a clean sheet, but that was because of heart. I think defensively we were relatively weak. Kyogo was on the periphery. Jota had a good sort of first half, but fell away. Look, we've ground it out again, and I think come the final, you know, we'll be a bit fresher. Hopefully the conditions will be a bit better, and we'll be back to our usual self. But I would give it to Aaron Moy today.
This tournament was huge for us last season. First trophy under Postecoglou, gave everybody a real boost. Great to be back in the final again, and as always with the League Cup being the first trophy of the season, it's big if you can get that under your belt.
It is, yeah, and it gives us real confidence. And look, our trophy numbers are getting pretty serious. I mean, they're relatively close to Rangers now. Every trophy that counts now is a big deal for the club. And I wouldn't want to rest it. I think the target's got to be the treble. Sometimes it's easy to take it for granted. You're 9 points clear. You know, you've won a league last season. We've got a manager that is revered and we all love it. Sometimes you just need to pause and think, don't take that for granted. Let's get these trophies over the line. Yeah. And we're only 1 game away from that now. It's probably going to be a game against Rangers. And what a spectacle that is. But, you know, it fancies to go all the way.
There you go. That's it for full-time reaction. Celtic are in another League Cup final like this video. Comment with your own thoughts below. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you during the week for that game against St Mirren. Cheers.